Welcome back to the Real Rendezvous podcast with Hunter and Brett. Brett, how are you doing?
I've been better.
So just a little heads up for everybody. Had a little snafu. That's what we're laughing at. We'll keep it as an inside joke for the time being.
Yeah.
But anyways, Brett, how you been?
I've been okay.
Okay.
I've been off work
with the vid.
With the vid. I avoided it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it snuck up on me on the back half, but I'm a lot better now.
Yeah.
It's out of me.
It gets us all when we least expect it.
Yeah. But so I deal with that. They're paying me though. So.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, I'm getting paid leave, so I'm not too mad about it.
Like, there's actually a lot of jobs that don't do that.
Yeah.
So, the one that I work at being one of them. So
yeah, no, I it's a good gig.
Be happy you're in the position that you're in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we are here today to review 500 Days of Summer, a rom-com that came out in 2009 by Marc Webb. But first, we have to talk about The Batman.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We would be remiss without discussing it. You want to drop on the...
Getting some deja vu. Yeah, we recorded an entire opening. And by recorded, I mean we didn't at all. I didn't hit the button.
Yeah,
so we've been sitting here talking like we were doing an episode.
Yeah, we just had like a great bullshit session about the Batman.
Yeah,
for
it
like
was so
20
good
minutes.
too. It was so good, and we didn't get any of it, and I'm so mad at myself.
Well, we just have to do our best to muster up that type of content and spit it out again.
Yeah, I mean, hey, show must go on.
Anyways, the Batman, hard 10.
Oh, instant 10.
Instantaneously, it is a 10. I shouldn't say instantaneously. That makes no sense. But
as a wise man once said,
yeah.
He earned the in front of Batman.
Yes. So the Batman came out a week ago? 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yep,
because
on the 4th.
Still mad at myself for not seeing it twice. I know you did. My man over here saw it back to back.
Yeah, same day. Same day.
Left the theater, took a piss, and went and bought another ticket.
I basically did.
This guy's a fiend.
It was worth it. It was just as good the second time.
So this movie is one of the first Batman films, probably is the first Batman film to really attack the world's greatest detective persona. This whole movie's basically a noir.
Oh yeah.
And we're fans of noir. One of our first episodes we recorded Brick, which is basically a neo-noir film that stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
JGL.
Who plays in the other film we're going to review, 500 Days of Summer. Brett, talk a little bit about Batman and what you loved about it.
Well, I mean, pretty much everything, just the entire atmosphere.
Sorry, I had to lean over and burp.
Oh, I thought you were looking at something. That's why I turned my head too.
I had to turn my head.
I wanted to see what was going on. But just like the whole atmosphere is just so gritty.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a daytime scene in this entire movie.
Right.
And just everyone really just comes and gives their all. We didn't talk about this last time, so I'm glad we got a redo.
Yeah.
But Commissioner Gordon completely surprised me.
Come on, man.
Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. I thought, when he got cast, I was like, oh, it's Commissioner Gordon. He's not going to have that huge of a part. But
right.
They really, he's a character in this movie.
Yeah.
And him and Batman have this awesome chemistry and just this bond. They just trust each other through and through and through.
He's the only cop that has Batman's back.
Yeah.
And he
has it 100%.
He's him and Robert Pattinson, Bruce Wayne, are kind of the only characters in this film that are just devoutly good people, because there's a lot of secrets in this movie.
Yeah.
And even other characters that you think are inherently good, they still have issues. And that's something I really like about it. Like you said, there isn't a role that goes unplayed well.
Yeah, no.
Every person brings their A game.
Everyone in this movie is doing such a good job, especially Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
If a man's eyes could be hired on as the only actor, I would go and get Robert Pattinson. This man does so much acting in this movie without saying a single word, and it's insane.
Whenever you just said like somebody's eyes is all they needed to like act or play, it made me think of what was that orange on YouTube back in the day?
Annoying orange.
It was just the eyes and the mouth. Like we'll get like Batman annoying orange and just like Photoshop Rob Pattinson's eyes over it.
But yeah, he actually like Batman does not have a lot of dialogue in this movie.
No.
But the dialogue he does have is so cool. He has so many good lines.
This is like kind of a very, very vague comparison I'm going to make, and don't take it the wrong way here because it's supposed to be a compliment. But as far as somebody executing a role so perfectly with as little of dialogue, kind of reminds me of Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator.
Oh yeah,
so it's that's totally different vein, but just somebody being able to do so much with such little talking. Like you said, he uses his eyes, his body language is great, and he just looks great in that amazing suit.
Such a good suit. I want it so bad. You know how hard it's been to hold myself back from buying a suit.
Oh yeah,
It's been rough.
I do not approve. But then again, you'd buy it. And you'd be like, man, you got to check this out. And I come over and look at it and be like, wow, I got to get one.
Yeah, it'd be so sick. But last thing I'll say about the eye thing, I just want to bring it up. There's a scene near the end of the movie. Where he
spoilers.
Well, I'm not gonna go into detail about the scene, but there's a scene near the end of the movie where Robert Pattinson goes through like 6 different emotions, and you can pinpoint every single one of them, and he does not say a word the entire time. That's the scene that made me. I was like, wow. He's not saying anything, and I can tell exactly what's going through his head right now.
Are you talking about after like the incident at Gotham Square Garden?
Yeah, the interrogation.
Oh no, that's before Gotham Square Garden, right? The interrogation with Riddler.
Yeah, that's before. Okay. Yeah, I'm talking about the interrogation.
That is probably the best acting he has done, maybe in his career.
Yeah, no, it was so good.
Yeah. And that's not the only scene that he really crushes it with.
No, that's just the one that I think of when I think about it.
What I thought you were talking about was like when he's putting the people like on the rescue.
Oh,
things,
that too, yeah.
And he's with that little girl.
So good, yeah.
And also like earlier in the film, whenever like he first comes to the crime scene with Jeffrey Wright's Gordon, and people are like, "You can't come in here," and he just kind of stares at the guy and is like, "What are you going to make me leave?
You got to do something."
That's literally the look he gives him. Like,
I can arrest you on 2 counts of assaulting an officer. Want to arrest me on 3?
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
So good.
And like you were saying though, Jeffrey Wright as Gordon, I knew he was going to crush it just because, as I've said plenty, me and Alyssa are big Westworld fans, and Jeffrey Wright's kind of like, he's not the main character, but he's like half of a main character basically, and he's really good in that show. And I really haven't seen him in a lot else.
Yeah, I recognize the name. Like when I think Jeffrey Wright, I know exactly who I'm thinking of.
He has a very distinct face,
but
his
can't
voice
think
is
of,
great.
Yeah, I think he does some decent voice work and things, and that might be.
Ironically enough, I don't know what it is specifically right now titled, but I'm pretty sure he does the voice of Batman on an audiobook somewhere. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I'm almost positive it's an audiobook. It's either that or something else, but he does the voice of Batman on something.
That's tight.
Yeah. Which he's got that like Kevin Conroy-esque gravelly voice. But yeah, and what we talked about on the other fabled unrecorded podcast, we really love that this film has that noir aesthetic, but it also has this timeless appeal to it where you can't quite place where it is in history, nor can you tell where it is specifically in reality. Like, it has a lot of very realistic aspects to it, but also some technology and some certain things that like stretch whether or not this is 100% real.
Yeah.
I know that earlier you were saying like you really love like the tech with the contacts, and there was some other technical things, some other gadgets he used that was like...
Yeah, he's got like a little bomb that's like real small and it...
Yeah, and I love that design too, like the little ring that pops up. And there's other things that he uses as well that is real. But then you see like the Riddler. So the Riddler in this film is basically portrayed as this like Zodiac killer.
Yeah, he's like Jigsaw meets Zodiac.
Right. And a lot of his traps and puzzles are very realistic. And like they look like he built them in his apartment. Like, so that's really cool.
Paul Dano crushes it as the Riddler, by the way.
As we said, everybody crushes it.
Yeah. Paul
Paul Dano is just good at playing a psycho weirdo. Because he is in this movie I love called Prisoners. It was directed by Denis Villeneuve. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. He made Dune, your favorite movie last year. Last year. This year?
Yeah, it was last year, 2021.
Yes.
My favorite movie.
Yeah.
That's a joke because I didn't like Dune.
Dune for some reason.
I didn't hate Dune. I didn't like Dune.
He also made like Blade Runner 2049 and a couple other like really, really like critically acclaimed films. But Paul Dano was double checking, making sure we're good. But Paul Dano,
now.
he plays like this, almost like he's mentally handicapped, and he kidnaps these kids in this film. And the movie's like a big cat and mouse game, but Paul Dano just is great as this like really displaced, problematic person, and I hate to say he's like typecast, but I feel like every time I've seen him, that's the role he plays.
Yeah.
But he's great as the Riddler.
It was kind of funny though, because Paul Dano has such a round, non-threatening face.
I noticed that.
When he takes his mask off, like he's like terrifying the whole movie. Super intimidating. He's got like this voice modulator.
Yeah.
The cadence of his voice, he's like real regal, but then he can just like snap. And then there's a point in the movie where he takes his mask off and he's just like Edward Nygma.
I feel like when
I almost lost I almost laughed at a few scenes of him doing his thing because like he's just a goofball.
I feel like whenever the beginning of the interrogation scene, the camera finally pans around and shows you a good profile of the Riddler's face, of Paul Dano's face, and he's just kind of sitting there with like the goofiest like
the
childish like harmless face you've ever seen.
The close up on him when they arrest him in the diner, which is in the trailers.
Yes.
When they arrest him in the diner.
We are spoiling.
Well, yeah, there is spoilers, but I'm just saying. When they arrest him in the diner, there's a close up on his face where he smiles at Batman through the window, and like it's supposed to be like a menacing, like creepy smile, and he just like looks like such a fun, nice guy.
Now here's the thing though about that interrogation scene, he does look innocent, but then whenever he starts his like spiel and giving his like little monologue, his evil diabolical monologue to Batman, he turns into this freak.
Yeah,
and like I feel like he emphasizes so much on like how he breathes, and how he exaggerates certain words, and Ave Maria.
That was when you started singing at him. What did you do?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene. There wasn't a scene I particularly didn't like.
Yeah, this movie uses its runtime so well. It does. This movie to me, I did not feel the 3 hours.
I didn't either. I will say there is one section of it about 2/3 of the way into the movie where there is 3 like back-to-back sequences of Bruce Wayne having a 10-15 minute conversation scene with this person, and then another 10-15 minute with it whenever he's like talking to Selena. Then he goes to Carmine when he's shooting pool. Then he goes to Alfred.
Yeah.
And that kind of drug it down for me a little bit. So if I was going to knock this down from a 10 to something, that would be the only reason why. But as I said earlier, that is only me thinking I have to analyze because I have a podcast and I review things.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to cancel myself out and say, Hunter, this is probably your favorite Batman movie of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
This is your favorite depiction of Batman cinematically. Shut the fuck up. It's a 10 out of 10.
Only thing that would even like slightly knock it down from a 10 for me is I felt the relationship between Bruce and Selena was a little rushed and a little forced.
We kind of had a good discussion.
Yeah, we had to talk about it. And I do see where you were coming from, but I still feel like they either could have waited or like made it feel more natural instead of just like jumping right into it.
Right.
Because it's a 3-hour movie.
Especially with the runtime.
Yeah. So they had time to spread it out more, but it felt very sudden and very like, oh, well, they kiss in the comics. We got to make it happen.
Yeah.
and I just didn't feel real to me.
Yeah.
So that would be the only thing that would knock it down. But again, it's like, oh, but also I don't care because Robert Pattinson's a badass.
Yeah.
So it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Speaking of him being a badass, that's another thing we can touch base on. There's not a ton of fight sequences in this movie. At least it doesn't feel like it. Maybe that's just due to the 3-hour runtime.
I think there's only about three major fight scenes.
They're great.
I mean, all three of them are fantastic.
Yeah, none of them, I guess you could say 4 with the car chase.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd count that. That's its own animal.
Oh, man.
But
Colin Farrell's Penguin.
Yeah,
so
he's
funny.
great as a penguin.
Dude, Kaylee gets mad at me. You can ask her if you ever. Sorry, I keep thinking you're looking.
I got to burp, man. Just let me burp. I got to get away from this mic.
I got that squirrel mentality.
I'll just burp in front of the mic since that's what you want.
Well, no, it's but if you look distracted, I'm like, oh, what are we looking at? But Kaylee has to tell me to stop doing the voice because like at random intervals, I'll just like, oh, what are you showing me?
Wow, what am I looking at? Yeah.
Colin Farrell had
like,
so much fun.
What are you, the world's greatest detectives or something?
Was this riddle stupid or something?
Yeah, I thought he was great. I showed Alyssa what Colin Farrell actually looks like, and she was like, that's not him.
I can see him. Maybe it's just me. I can see him.
I mean,
obviously it's hard to see him, but like I see him in there.
I think he sat down, right? And like Matt Reeves or whoever, designed his look is just like, Robert De Niro. We need him to be Robert De Niro. And, like the way he talks and stuff just reminds me of like Robert De Niro from Casino, which I know you've probably never seen that. Mm-hmm. It's like a mobster movie from the 90s. But yeah, he's awesome. He's great.
He's so
and
good.
He's getting a spin-off series, right?
He is, which I mean, he's great and I loved him in the role. He had so much fun with it.
I don't really want to humanize Penguin though as like somebody I could support.
I just don't see what they could do with it. I mean, obviously, the events at the end of the movie, we see sort of a tease for where the show could go.
Right.
Like what it could be about, he's going for that power play.
Right.
But I mean, I don't really I mean, I'm sure they'll find a way to make it interesting, but I don't have like super high hopes. I'm not like gunning for like, man, I can't wait till Penguin comes out on HBO Max.
I will say this, upon the conclusion of my viewing of The Suicide Squad last year, I was like, I ain't watching a Peacemaker show. Like, that is true. Fuck that guy, man. Like, he killed Rick Flag. Yeah. As we brought up before, and then I'm a Rick Flag stan. Yeah. So, and then I watched Peacemaker and it was great. So, I mean, and if Matt Reeves is behind it, we should give him a chance.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it. I'll watch it when it comes out. I'm having trouble seeing the vision.
Yeah, and if it's so much hooked on like crime drama, that's not really what I want to get behind.
I think the way I would do a Penguin show if I were in that director's chair, I would go for a Sopranos thing.
I think that's what they're probably gonna do. Yeah. But have you watched The Sopranos?
No, Dad loved it though.
I haven't watched The Sopranos. It does not interest me.
Yeah.
I hate saying that because like there are like gangster mafia movies I do like. Like I love Goodfellas and there's probably a couple more that I just can't think of, but Goodfellas is really great. But I'm not interested.
Yeah, I'm not super interested in like I've never watched Breaking Bad because
I haven't either.
Because I don't care about watching like bad people do bad things. Like, why would that be entertaining to me?
Yeah, I
like Mom watches the show Sons of Anarchy, which, to my understanding, my very small understanding, is just The Sopranos, but they're bikers now. Yeah. And like I watched a few episodes with her, and like I don't like any of those people. It's like, how could you sit through 4 seasons of these people being like horribly unlikable?
The only way I could like get behind watching Sons of Anarchy is just because at least it's like biker culture, which I think is really badass. With that said, I would never join a biker gang. I don't know how to ride a motorcycle.
He's lying. Call him. He wants to join.
Nope. But anything else as far as the Batman to touch base on?
Go see it. Go see it 4 or 5 a billion times. There's a dude that saw it as of today, has seen it like 26 times.
Really?
Which is insane amount of free time to have.
Yeah, I mean, is he just trying to ruin the movie for himself? I mean, that's just a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, too much of a good thing does exist.
I could understand watching it 26 times, but not 26 times in a 2 week span.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like you said,
But I mean, good on him. I mean,
this guy must be unemployed and like inherited some kind of like insurance money or something.
He's using his vacation days to continuously just see the Batman.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
But yeah,
like I said, 10 out of 10. I'm sure you agree.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
This is the, what's the word I'm looking for here? Put a staple on it. Definitive. Batman film of the last 20 years.
It's the definitive Batman film.
I know that there's probably like some Dark Knight stands that are like, Heath punching the air right now.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
Heath Ledger's Joker is great.
Christopher Nolan's artistic vision.
If there's an argument to be made for the definitive Batman movie of the last 20 years, I could see it being made for The Dark Knight. Specifically, no Batman Begins, no Dark Knight Rises.
I mean, I enjoyed The Dark Knight, and Heath Ledger's Joker is the best part of that movie.
Obviously, no Batman vs. Superman.
I don't think anyone's... Well, that's not true. There are a lot of people that are arguing for Batman vs. Superman.
I do not dislike Batman vs. Superman, but I will not try not make an argument for it being definitive by any means. But everything about this movie is so unique, so creative. There's so much like heart and touch put in this movie, and I've seen at least like 3 or 4 different people say online or examples online of where there's so much of this movie that is done practically, not just the stunt work.
They jumped that car through a real explosion.
Yeah. And man, we could really talk about so much about this movie. But that car chase scene, there was like a lot of camera angles that I feel like you only see in like car commercials. Yeah. That were just dope, dude. Like there's like one camera angle, like if you're looking at my phone right here and this is the hood of the Batmobile, there's like a camera on the lower part of the wheel when he's like doing the donuts and spinning and stuff. And like all the practicality with the chase scene. I saw that in the scene, the hallway scene where he's getting the machine gun shot at him, that is literally filmed with actual muzzle flash from those guns.
Really? I did not know that one. That's awesome.
So funny. Yeah, my buddy Jeremy sent it to me. And so funnily enough, like I wonder how long after they filmed that scene that the news happened with the whole Alec Baldwin tragedy.
Yeah. Man.
I bet they were like, well, we won't do that again.
Yeah.
But like so much care is put into this movie. And you can tell it oozes with personality. Yeah. I don't know how to really drool over it anymore, but it's a great movie.
I think we covered everything.
I guess that's kind of a review of it. Yeah.
So thanks for watching this episode on the Batman.
How long have we been on it so far?
20 minutes.
It's not that bad.
Terrible.
I thought it was going to be worse. Yeah, we can make it worse. We both love this movie.
Completely scrap 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah, 500 Days of Summer. It was all right.
It was good.
We'll talk to you guys in a couple weeks. Okay, I'm just kidding. We won't do that.
No.
With that said, shall we dive into 500 Days of Summer?
Real quick, while we're here. The Kenobi trailer came out.
Holy shit. I forgot about Kenobi. Man, we could really...
Okay, sorry. The full show is called Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think they should have just called it Kenobi.
Yeah.
But the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer came out. It looks pretty sick.
Man, I feel like we were just destroying 500 Days of Summer here. Like, if we have a stove with like 4 rows of burners, it is on the back burner right now. But anyway, hey, and just for the record, Brett picked the rom-com, not me. So
I have my reasons.
We'll get to that. We will. But the Kenobi trailer. So like I was telling you earlier, when it dropped, I was at a eye exam appointment and I was a little early. So I was sitting in the parking lot and I was like, oh, that's right. The Kenobi trailer came out. So I pulled it up on my phone and I'm like sitting in my car and I have my phone like plugged in to my audio jack that runs to like Apple CarPlay. And it's playing the video and using like the sound system in my car. And I had the volume like pretty high up. And it starts out with like the Binary Sunset soundtrack. And you know me, I'm a sucker for anything with a great soundtrack. I have to have a good soundtrack, a good score to any of my viewing pleasures. And I shouldn't have worded that way. But anyways, about like 30 seconds in, it does that. But then the screen goes black and it drops the Lucasfilm logo. And then Duel of the Fates from Phantom Menace kicks in. And I swear, I'm not exaggerating, every hair on my body stood on end. And I like verbally, like audibly let out a big old like, oh, god damn, whenever that kicked in. And then like as the tension builds in the song Duel of the Fates, you get this like narration by the Grand Inquisitor. And I've never watched Rebels, but just hearing his voice for this show, dude was menacing.
Are the Inquisitors not a Clone Wars thing? I
don't think. I'm only like on season like 4 or 5 in Clone Wars. I know everybody's like, how are you a Star Wars fan?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, I've only seen half of season 1, so
yeah, like I don't get me started on what makes you a fan of something. But anyways, I'm pretty sure that the Inquisitors were not introduced until Rebels. But I could be wrong.
I've never seen a lick of Rebels.
I haven't either. I heard it's pretty good though.
I just know that the main character's name is Ezra.
I don't really like that animation style.
Yeah.
I already don't like the animation style for Clone Wars, but I still like power through it. And then Rebels is like even worse. I feel like it takes that like CGI animation style and turns it all into like Play-Doh.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can tell it's lower budget than Clone Wars was, because this one, because Rebels aired on Disney XD. Rebels was airing while I was,
okay,
coming up. So
while you was a youngin' on your grind, growing up,
and I just never watched it. I was watching Gravity Falls.
Ugh, I don't even know what that is.
It's really good. You should watch it. I think you'd like it.
Really?
I mean, not like you wouldn't be like head over. You wouldn't be like singing its praises in the streets, but I think you'd enjoy it.
I feel like
it's a fun watch.
I feel like I remember somebody saying that Gravity Falls has a lot of like mystery vibes.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it has a lot of, so there's this show that me and Alyssa watched that was on Netflix called Twin Peaks, and it came out in the 90s. And it's
Gravity Falls is very, very Twin Peaksy.
So you know what Twin Peaks is?
Yeah.
Okay.
My basic level understanding of what Twin Peaks is.
But I have seen people say that Gravity Falls is almost like a kid's version animated Twin Peaks.
Yeah, and it's super funny. All the characters are really likable, and then it's fairly episodic. But then when it gets those like serialized chronological bits, those are what add to the mystery, and you're just like, well, now I got to see where it all goes.
So something else that I've always wanted to check out that is a big time like gets influence from Twin Peaks is the video game Alan Wake.
Alan Wake.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to like check out Alan Wake. I heard it was great, but all the gameplay just kind of like your weapon's a flashlight.
Yeah, they made a remaster of it recently.
Yeah. I've always wanted to get into it, but I never did.
I never played it.
Anyways, I digress. Kenobi. Was there anything specific that stuck out to you?
I'm glad Ewan McGregor's back as Obi-Wan.
He must not age.
Yeah,
he does not look that old.
Yeah, no. I really hope we get a few hello there's. That'd be good.
Did the official Kenobi?
Yes, the first tweet they ever made was hello there.
Oh, man,
General Kenobi.
So I bought this sick shirt. This has to do with Star Wars. You know me with all my like illegible, ridiculous band tees. Well, so I bought this shirt from the same company that made my cool Umbrella Corporation hoodie. Shout out Holy Mountain Printing from North Carolina.
Shout out Holy Mountain Printing from North Carolina.
Holy Mountain Printing. Hit them up. This one guy that he collabs with, he's called True Gunpla. And
you told me about it.
Yeah, he does like Gundam figures and stuff. And he a couple years ago he dropped like a death metal logo Mandalorian emblem on a t-shirt, like black and white.
That's awesome.
So I bought that.
Oh yeah.
Well, the most recent one that he has out says on the back of it, I'm blanking on what General Grievous says, but I'm pretty sure he says you're doomed. And on the front, it's in episode 3, obviously, and on the front, it's like it's General Grievous's face, like with this big like collage in the background of like lightsabers and mechanical
that's awesome.
Arms and stuff. And it's like black and white. It looks like a death metal t-shirt, but it's just General Grievous's face.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really badass. But
I also liked seeing Baby Luke in the opening. That was cool.
Like,
he was pretending he was driving a speeder.
Yeah, I wonder I wonder how much interaction there will be, if any. You know what I mean?
Well, when we meet Luke in A New Hope, he knows of Ben.
Right.
You know, he's like, he refers to him as a person he's met and interacted with before.
I can't remember. In A New Hope, is Uncle Owen kind of like standoffish with Luke spending time with Ben?
Yeah, he's like, you stay away from that old hermit. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, he calls him a hermit.
Yeah.
Man, like just...
He's just a crazy old hermit.
That just makes me want to like watch it now.
I dropped Kaylee off at a doctor's appointment today, and I just sat in the lounge area that they had out front. They had a TV with Disney Plus that you could like change, and they were like, you know, because I was the only one there. They were like, you know, put on what you want. I turned on Empire.
That's awesome, man.
I just started watching Empire. I got like halfway through the Hoth battle, and then Kaylee came out and was like, "Are you watching Star Wars right now?" And I was like, "They told me I could turn on what I wanted."
There's a scene that like I've seen on YouTube where it was like best shot ever, and it was like their force fields are impenetrable, and it shows like one of the it's not an X-wing. Are they fighting with X-wings on the Battle of Hoth?
They have snow speeders.
Yeah, and it's like one of their aircrafts. You know, the aircraft that they take down the AT-AT with.
Mm-hmm. It might have been an X-wing.
Well, he says like the force field's impenetrable, and then like literally 5 seconds later he flies down, just like shoots like one shot, and the thing explodes, like absolutely just blows into a million pieces, and it's like hilarious. But
no, clearly the best shot in any Star Wars movie is somehow Palpatine returned.
Oh, don't start with that. Let's go back to the Kenobi trailer. So it's tight. It's a little vague, but I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. I think that too many trailers give away too much shit.
I think it should. The show starts premiering in May.
Yeah,
I think this should be the only trailer they drop, and then we just let the show come out.
You know, I listened to this podcast called Lights, Camera, Barstool, and it's like some average dudes like me just doing movie reviews and TV show reviews. I really enjoy it. I think you would like it too. But one thing that they talked about with the Batman and all the build up to it, if there was one flaw, it was too much trailers. Too many trailers. The Batman had like half a dozen different trailers. And even though, you know, it didn't reveal...
Sonic 2 is getting a ton of trailers.
Even though it didn't reveal too much, it kind of did. There was something... Like, the whole Riddler scene in the diner would have been awesome if that wasn't in a trailer. You know what I mean? And there's just a couple things like that. So I hope that Kenobi doesn't get... what's the word? Watered down with a bunch of trailers.
Yeah.
Speaking of trailers, one I didn't watch, but I need to... The new Halo trailer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know they dropped a new Halo trailer.
Well, of course you didn't, but what did you think I was talking about?
I thought you were talking about Miss Marvel.
Why would I bring that up?
I don't know.
I just found out about it
before. Yeah, that's why I thought.
Yeah, I'm a shitty fan of Halo because a new trailer for the Halo show just came out like yesterday, maybe the day before. I haven't watched it yet. I'm super excited for the Halo TV show. I think Master Chief looks dope. Brett, he's a Zoomer, so he doesn't fuck with Halo. He doesn't remember the good old days of local play on your Xbox.
I didn't grow up with it. I grew up a PlayStation. Not only did I not grow up with Halo, I didn't even grow up with an Xbox. I've been a PlayStation kid my entire life.
Yeah,
I've not owned a single Xbox console in my entire life. I own the Master Chief Collection on PC, and I tried to play through a little bit of Combat Evolved. Because when I start a series, I like to play through them in order.
Great game.
I like to play through, if I can get a collection of games, I like to play them
trash about Combat Evolved
in order. And so I started playing Combat Evolved, and I just didn't vibe with it that much.
I'm going to do ASMR. Great game. Halo Combat Evolved is a great game. Amazing game.
It was fine.
Revolutionary game.
I didn't finish it.
The game has so many iconic things about it. Ugh. Anyways. So... Any other nerd shit we need to touch base on?
Moon Knight comes out in 2 weeks.
Oh, so man.
That'll be good. It looks so good.
That's another one I only
pumped.
Watched the first trailer for. I haven't seen the other. Another trailer came out, didn't it?
Like a teaser. Yeah, we've getting a lot of TV spots.
Okay, yeah, like a TV spot. And I haven't watched anything else on it, but I'm seeing all the promotional like posters and stuff.
Oh, the posters.
I think
the posters they've been putting out for Moon Knight might be the best Marvel posters they've ever put out.
It's just like a splash of white and gray. Like, and What's the one where he's like in the suit?
Mr.
And he's
Knight.
Like, okay, and he's like rolling the sleeve
he's
up.
rolling the sleeve up.
And the way he is looking.
And then there's another one where he's got his, pulling his glove down.
The glove one, the way he is looking at you is so menacing.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Oscar Isaac's going to kill it.
Like, he's a great actor. Great actor. Like, I would love for that to be a movie and see that like as a movie marquee.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'd be like, I'd take all my money. I need that.
No, the glove poster might be the best one.
Yeah.
I will say, because I don't know a ton about Moon Knight.
I don't
I'm not going to sit here and
literally
pretend.
know what he looks like.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm like the Moon Knight expert. But, from what I've read up on and the comics I have seen, the Mr. Knight suit, where he's got the suit and just the mask, is like way off in his development as a character. And if they're doing it for season 1, I'm a little disappointed, mostly because 1, I know it's going to be the main one that they use, and 2, I'm upset because his main suit with the hood, that is the coolest costume I've ever seen in my entire life. Now, with like the wraps and the way it goes on him. I don't know if you saw the TV spot where
it just wraps around him and
it like comes
him.
Out of his back, and then it's it's so cool.
This is one complaint I have about making a live action Moon Knight. Suit's amazing. The way he is depicted in comics looks so great. We have had a discussion before about hoods in live action.
Mm-hmm.
Hoods are very difficult to make look good in live action. So to make it look good and sit on his head the proper way at all times, they're going to rely a lot on a CGI hood.
Mm-hmm.
And so this could be a bad thing, but it looks good in the trailers, so I'm going to stick with that.
It's kind of funny because the hood is also part of the magic part of the suit. But it kind of just like, maybe I just saw it wrong or like my eyes are playing tricks on me. But in the new TV spot, there's a part where he like turns around while he's suiting up. And so the wrap parts are like wrapping all around him and they wrap around his face. And the hood just kind of like fades into existence.
It doesn't
it doesn't really like come up out of anything. It just kind of like it appears.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
So like I can totally see this being something that I watch and then enjoy so much that after the fact I'm like, man, I need to get into Moon Knight. And so I purchase a Moon Knight graphic novel. There's been so many things that's how I've gotten into them is because I've watched something and then been like, look, so many comics.
That's what I did with Hawkeye. I watched the Hawkeye show and I read all 3 Matt Fraction runs.
Yeah. David Aja?
Yeah, he did the art.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. He's great.
Oh, fantastic.
He's the Darth Maul phone background
that
you can't see from my Gmail update.
I do believe that this has the capability because the Marvel shows have been fine up until this point. I saw a tweet. I don't remember who made the tweet, so I can't directly shout them out. I'll find it again on Twitter if I can, and I'll retweet it from our account. But someone made a tweet that said, the problem with the Marvel shows isn't that they're bad. It's that Marvel doesn't know how to make TV shows. They make 4-hour movies and they cut them into episodes, which means the pacing is super weird when you watch them week to week.
Yeah.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think that might be the Marvel show's biggest downfall. Because if I were to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier as a movie, I think I'd like it a lot more than I do as a TV show.
I did not watch Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, it's really good.
I feel bad not watching it because whenever they were all first announced, a couple years ago, that was the one that I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to watch that.
Yeah.
And then I watched the first episode of it and fell off big time.
Yeah. Well, because the first few episodes are super boring, but if that was the first act of a movie, I think it'd be more stomachable than like
different.
Yeah.
And then the one that I told myself that I didn't care about, WandaVision, ended up being the only one I've truly like watched. And I watched Hawkeye, but I binge watched WandaVision all in one sitting.
WandaVision started out great. And then, like, because it was literally supposed to be episodic, because it was doing a sitcom.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe why it was so successful. Because what you're saying is it was the one that was truly episodic.
Yeah.
Because each episode was based like in a different time period sitcom.
But then the last 3 episodes, they did the thing where they just make a movie and cut it up again.
Yeah.
And I sometimes I go and I say I don't like WandaVision.
Yeah.
Which what I really mean is I don't like the last 3 episodes of WandaVision.
Which is such a bummer because I feel like it builds.
I love the sitcom episodes. Those are fantastic.
It builds so much. And then I think it is like the 3rd to last episode whenever you find out about Agatha. And then the way that episode ends is like, oh man, that's tight. And then the next couple episodes are just like
I think Agatha's reveal is when the show started sucking. Like everything up before Agatha.
I thought her reveal was tight. I liked her reveal.
The reveal of her is cool, but then
because that was the conclusion of that episode, and you were like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
and then the next couple episodes are like,
especially that finale is awful. I hate the WandaVision finale. Yeah, it's so bad.
It's very
Loki is still the best Disney Plus show.
I haven't watched it. Everybody tells me it's really good.
It actually is paced well for a TV show.
Loki wore out his welcome with me many moons ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But like Tom Hiddleston does such a good job in the
really
show,
good actor.
And Owen Wilson's great. They bounce off of each other super well. Yeah. Loki's the best one so far.
Does Owen Wilson give any wows?
Yeah, a little bit. He does. Wow. I don't think he has like a like nail on the head wow, but like he's got his Owen Wilson moments.
That's like his signature thing he has to do in every cinematic thing he's involved in.
Quick Marvel show ranking. It's Loki, Hawkeye, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision. What If? What If sucks. I don't like.
I was about to say I don't think WandaVision could be last.
I don't like What If.
I can't rank them because I've only watched 2 of them.
Yeah, What If is not. I didn't. Did you watch What If?
I watched 1 episode of What If.
That's about how I think everyone should do it.
There was nothing. I don't know. I don't like that animation style.
Yeah, it wasn't like as cool as I wanted it to be. Like the last couple episodes are the best ones.
Yeah.
But like the one-offs, they're just like they're not super gripping. It's literally like it's not like here's a character, here's their story. It's like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if this was this instead?
I thought they were all like one-offs, like their own standalone thing.
The first 4 are one-offs, and then the last 2, the Watcher intervenes and puts together the Guardians of the Multiverse. And so he takes everyone we've met from that point forward.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, you guys are a team now. Fight Vision Ultron.
Yeah.
But it sucks because What If is canon? Because that version of Doctor Strange is in the new movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a bummer.
All right. All right. That's the episode. we're calling it quits.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little.
By the way, we have a movie to review too, guys. Stick around.
Do a little segue here, man. We've been recording for 500 minutes. 500. That makes me think of 500 Days of Summer. All right, so we're actually going to finally get to our film review now. Hopefully, you enjoyed us talking about nerdy stuff.
42 minutes.
For 42 minutes.
What that segment was.
We might have outdone ourselves there.
Yeah, we might have. I think. You think we should wing the synopsis?
I'll breeze through this. Okay, you stop me when you need to say something. Okay, so 500 Days of Summer is a 2009 romantic dramedy. Is that what you were calling it?
That's what I said earlier. Yeah,
which actually is a good term. It's just a little like, man, I'm gonna mix all this up into a bowl and bake it, and this is what I'm gonna call it. Mm-hmm. But this movie is directed by Marc Webb, who also directed The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2.
Yep. This is actually the movie that got him that job. This is also his first movie.
When did the first Amazing Spider-Man come out?
2012.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Because this 2009, and this was his like major film debut. Mm-hmm. Okay. I really like this movie. I believe,
if I remember correctly, he was like fresh out of college.
I don't really like this movie. I think this is a very good movie, but I don't like the movie. I'm going to disclaimer right now.
I think it is an okay movie that I would watch again under the correct circumstances, but I wouldn't seek it. I wouldn't be like, oh man, I really need to watch 500 Days of Summer.
I feel like, because I saw this a long time ago, like around the same time that it first came out, and I had like bad memories of it, and it's a lot better than what I remembered it being. But with that said, I'll give more of an opinion on it later. But it stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, our boy. We love JGL.
Dude, this show, doing this show has introduced me to the wonderful world of JGL.
We're going to have to like eventually review another movie with the man JGL in it.
We should do Looper.
Ooh, I've never seen Looper.
Ah,
man, that's great.
Nice.
We were going to review Looper at some point. I already think I know what I'm going to pick for my next.
Oh, yeah.
Movie. Yeah, I think so. I need to introduce you to something. Anyways, oh man, have you ever seen Inception?
No.
He's in Inception. Inception's great too.
Only movie I've ever seen him in before bricking this was The Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
Where he plays Robin.
Spoiler alert. No, I'm kidding.
Spoiler alert for a movie that came out. When was that?
Like, his name is Robin. And it's just like a, moment.
And it doesn't go anywhere.
That movie came out in, Dark Knight Rises was 2013, maybe?
I think it was. Because Dark Knight was 2011, wasn't it?
No. I think Dark Knight was 2008.
Oh, yeah, it was. You're right.
See, I'm good at this stuff. Movie trivia.
Yeah.
Also stars Zoe Deschanel.
The double O always catches me off guard.
Yeah, so I was telling my wife prior to this recording, I'm just going to like purposely butcher the pronunciation of her name, but I didn't. I won't. Also, Jeffrey Arenda and Chloe Grace Moretz. She's pretty young in this movie.
Yeah, that when I saw her name in the credits,
the
opening credits, I was like, oh, she's in this? And then like this 8-year-old walks out on screen. I was like, whoa, why is she so little?
I wonder if this came out before or after Kick-Ass. I think Kick-Ass might have came out the next year.
Kick-Ass wasn't 2010, was it?
I don't know.
I thought Kick-Ass was 2012.
Well, I mean, it's got like Aaron Taylor Johnson looks young as shit.
Yeah.
In Kick-Ass also.
I'll find out when Kick-Ass came out.
So I'm going to ramble here for a second. This movie had a budget of $7.5 million. Its U.S. gross was $32 million, and its worldwide gross was $60 million. I didn't write it down.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you going to mention its weekend gross?
Its opening weekend, it only made... Well, you know, maybe this isn't bad because I never talk about opening weekend like income.
Wow.
When did it come out?
Kick-Ass came out in 2010.
Damn, I'm good.
Wow, it does not feel that old.
It's because it's a great movie. Fresh, very fresh ideas. So anyways, man, we are struggling to just talk about 500 Days of Summer.
Yeah.
Like, damn. Anyways.
The Real Rendezvous variety show featuring 500 Days of Summer.
Cameo appearance from 500 Days of Summer. Anyways, the worldwide gross was $60 million, and its opening weekend, it only made like $830,000. But with that said, I never read off any other film's opening weekend, so I'm not sure how bad that truly is.
Well, I mean, nowadays we look at these figures that Marvel and DC are getting, and it's like sometimes you forget that shouldn't be like the staple.
This was kind of an indie film when it was released, wasn't it?
Definitely. It's very artsy.
I didn't see what kind
of like Brick.
I didn't see what studio put it out, but I'm pretty sure it was kind of like one of those under the radar films. This movie is scored by Michael Dana, and a fun fact about the movie that Brett brought up kind of impacted his rating a little bit.
It really.
So the screenwriter for this movie, he based this on a real life relationship and breakup he had.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel for the guy.
Which is like he's not even shy about it with the opening. The first thing you see in the movie, is a disclaimer that says it's one of those, you know, any resemblance to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
What you always see at the conclusion of the credits of any film.
Yeah,
but this is right off the bat,
and he's like, especially for Jenny Beckham, I think her name was.
Yeah, something like that. It was like, you bitch.
Yeah.
I kind of like the little disclaimer at the beginning. And
I would have liked it because I thought it was fake. But that is her name. It's a real person.
That's legitimately her name.
Yes.
Huh? I feel like the guy could have some legal issues there.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe he like contacted her and like tried to like swoon her a little bit.
Badmouth you in this movie about how much I hate you.
He like went and like got her liquored up a little bit and made her sign a contract that she wasn't going to sue his ass. So anyways, one of the things about this movie that we have to touch on before diving into the plot and the synopsis is that the film is presented in a non-linear narrative, which I enjoy in movies, and I'm pretty sure Brett really liked this aspect for this film too.
I did.
This is something that really picked up my overall rating of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it was non-linear, and there's certain movies that are non-linear that are kind of difficult to follow. This one has title cards.
Yeah. It lets you know exactly where we're at on the timeline.
So when this says 500 Days of Summer, the entire film takes place in the 500-day span of Tom, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, and Summer, Zoe Deschanel's character's relationship over 500 days. And over the span, it goes from them meeting to
we get all
their
their ups and downs.
Them starting to fall apart, the eventual breakup, and then, spoiler alert, Tom's redemption-ish at the end. We'll get to that here in a second. But the construction of this synopsis I'm about to read is kind of difficult because, as I said, this bounces around in the 500 days. I'm pretty sure it starts out like on one of the 400th days, right after they break up, and Tom's really tore up. And then we bounce back to the beginning whenever he first meets Summer. So I'm gonna read here for a few minutes and cut me off when you want to dive in and say something here, Brett. So on day number 1, Tom Hansen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, meets Summer Finn, Zoe Deschanel's character, his boss's new assistant. Tom is an architect working as a writer at a greeting card company. He kind of doesn't really like his job. They discover that they have a similar taste in music. They both like indie rock and specifically the band The Smiths. I even said to Alyssa that like that's an instant red flag. If she listens to indie rock, she's got problems. She thinks she's better than everyone else. So anyways, we fast forward to day 28 at a karaoke night that all their work friends are at. They end up having some beers, Tom and one of his buddies, and Summer joins them. They end up talking about love and what they think of it. Tom believes in love, but Summer does not. Tom's friend and coworker, Mackenzie, is hammer drunk, and he reveals that Tom has a crush on Summer, which he asserts is only as being friends, something Summer agrees with. We jump to day 31, which I don't know if I remembered that. I thought that the next day was when they kissed at the Xerox machine.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Well, anyways, the next day, or perhaps 2 days later.
I thought the bar was like in the middle of the movie.
No, that was in the first quarter of the film. So on day 31, Summer spontaneously kisses Tom in the office in front of the Xerox machine. On day 34, Summer tells him she's not looking for a serious relationship. Tom agrees to sustain a casual relationship, and then later that night, they end up having sex, and Tom is head over heels.
That scene is so good.
So let's stop here and rewind just a little bit. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is portrayed as this very hopeless romantic. Early in the movie, it says that through his love of bands like Joy Division and The Smiths and sad boy rock of the late 80s, early 90s, he just feels like, and I hate to say this, when I was in high school, I was Tom. I had this issue when I was in high school that if I was going to be with a girl, I had to date her and be in love with her.
Yeah, she had to be the one.
Yeah, I really felt like that.
You had to get the first try or it's a bust.
I was an idiot. I was a dumbass in high school. But anyways, so I relate to Tom's character. I really like the person he is. Seems like just a genuinely good dude.
Yeah.
And what is it?
No, I'll touch on it later.
Okay. And so the whole scene where they have the conversation at the karaoke night, they have a good conversation about love and their perception of it. And right off the bat, I just feel like the red flags right there with Zoe Deschanel and her personality. But then again, it's human nature to want what you can't have. On top of Tom just being attracted to her, obviously wants to pursue a relationship. I really like the scene where they kiss because I almost expected her, whenever she kisses him, to say, "You deserved that," afterwards. I know she didn't, but the dude opened himself up but was so kind about it whenever they were drunk talking that night. And, even though he obviously was crushing and had hard feelings, he was too afraid to pursue them. So this whole problem that this film goes through with is all her fault because she just had to give him a big old wet one in front of the copying machine. I thought it was a pretty nice moment though. And then on day 34, where it says she tells him they're not looking for the serious relationship, she's not looking for a serious relationship. They're on a date at IKEA.
Yeah.
Which I thought, like...
Honey, our sink is broken.
Oh, that was funny,
a great sequence, too.
That was hilarious.
I did love that sequence.
And, like, they dive on the bed, and they're like, the camera's panning in. They're all cozy.
Honey, I don't want to alarm you.
Yeah, I don't know how to tell you this.
There's an Asian family in our bathroom.
It was hilarious, man.
No, it was... That was really good.
How can you not fall in love with JGL acting?
For real.
So charismatic.
For real. Movie had me falling for him.
I'm going to get you. You're going to be on my side with it. You're going to be doing this bitch right here.
No, I agree that Summer isn't the best character.
I don't want to say she's a bad person.
No, I wouldn't say that.
I just think she makes bad decisions in this movie.
I think she's not, yeah.
I think way before 400 days into a relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
That's over a year.
Just cut it off.
You know it or not before that.
Yeah, if you're not full in, you tell Tom, just go.
And at a point, that is addressed by Tom later. And he's right. He's 100% right. Anyways.
But to Summer's credit, also on Tom, giving up is a two-way street. Tom should have given up a lot sooner than he did.
I think Tom held his hopes way too high.
Yes.
Anyways, after they end up having sex and it says Tom's elated, that's whenever he has like the emo Peter Parker sequence where he comes out of the apartment and is like dancing through the streets. And what do you think of like the animated Blue Jay?
That was so funny. That whole sequence was great. I love the dance.
I forgot about that. I really like that. So there's like a really comical, like almost like a fourth wall breaking moment where after he wakes up the next day and leaves her apartment, he's like so happy that he smashed. He's like dancing with everyone.
It's great.
He's walking through the park and he's got like a dozen people behind him doing like a synchronized dance routine. And then there's an animated Blue Jay that flies down and like dances with him. It's really funny. Anyways, after several months of their relationship and them dating, they begin to grow closer. Both Tom's friends and his preteen half-sister Rachel, played by Chloe Grace Moretz, hit girl, push him to ask Summer where they are in their relationship, what the label is, if there is a label, who she is to him, blah, 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 blah. Though Summer brushes this question off, saying that it should not matter if they are both happy. I will say, Summer is kind of right here. Because, that shit don't matter whenever you grow up. It don't. That's not how relationships really work. At the same time, never mind. I was going to talk about, how me and your sister made it official when we started dating. But anyways.
Save it for the scrapbook, softy.
Oh, yeah. I better not get into that. Alyssa will listen to this podcast and make fun of me. No, she won't. Alyssa's amazing. Alyssa wanted me to throw out a fun fact. Zooey Deschanel's older sister, I believe Emily Deschanel, is the lead actress in the TV series Bones. Very cool show.
Alyssa was obsessed with Bones. I remember we have you guys probably have them here now, but she had the box set of all the DVDs.
She's like watched the whole series multiple times. Like, how can you do that? But I've never watched it, but she's got it on. I've sat down. It's interesting. I already like Emily Deschanel more than Zooey Deschanel.
I haven't seen Zooey Deschanel in anything else.
I've only seen her in two things.
Upstairs.
Both things I've saw her in. She's a bitch.
What's the other thing she's in?
Elf.
Oh.
She's a bitch in that, too.
I always forget that's her because she's blonde in that movie. Yeah. And she looks so different with blonde hair as opposed to her dark hair.
I think she looks better with blonde hair. Maybe that's just me saying that because at least she's in a cheery, happy movie in that one than being a cold-hearted woman in this. Stoneheart, a witch.
You sound like the writer.
Ugh.
But
I like this guy. Fuck, I didn't write his name down.
It's
but
Michael
this
something.
screenwriter, Michael something.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't listen to Brett. You said what all the men needed to have said.
Zoe Deschanel is also in New Girl, which is like her most known thing. I've never seen it, but apparently a lot of people really like it.
It's like a sitcom?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard of it. I can't picture anything about it, though.
Yeah, I think she there's like these 4 dudes, and she's new to their apartment complex, and she's like a ditz, and they help her out.
Is Kat Dennings in that too?
I don't think so. Kat Dennings is in Two Broke Girls.
That's it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay, I have a confession. Kat Dennings is hot.
Oh, she's so fine.
I don't think she is like a progressively hot woman. But she's really attractive.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. I love Kat Dennings.
Like
she's great.
She is very pretty, but her personality is like such like a attitude, like kind of, I don't know. I love her.
Shout out Kat Dennings.
Shout out Kat Dennings. You're an amazingly beautiful woman. She could be one of our, 40 listens. You never know.
Yeah. Kat Dennings, is that you?
Like comments on Real Rendezvous Instagram. Only one. Anyways, so we fast forward to day 259. Keep in mind, this bounces around a little bit. Not the way I'm reading it, but in the film. It's way better in the film. Yeah.
The film bounces. They put this sort of in light chronological order for the synopsis. In the movie, it's very, these are all very out of order scenes. And it works better for that. Because there's a lot of juxtaposition where it'll show you a day. And also, I'll talk more on this later about just like the great style of the movie. But in the title card where the days change, there's a tree that is representative of the state of their relationship at that point in time. And so it'll go from a happy green, like early day, and it'll show us a scene of them having like so much fun.
Yeah.
And then it'll cut to like 450 and like all the leaves on that tree are dead. The background's grayed out.
Yeah.
And then so playing off of like seeing these happy scenes, immediately smash cut next to like a sad scene of him like when he lost her.
What did you describe that as? It was
juxtaposition.
No, that was a great word. But the sequences where it's showing what day in the 500-day span it is. The two words.
Oh, title card.
Yeah, the Brett's sacred title cards.
I don't know if I would I don't know what I would classify.
Not title
They're
cards.
not. I wouldn't classify them as title cards, but I don't know what else I would call it otherwise.
So we're gonna call them.
So we'll refer to them as title cards.
Okay, so day 259, Tom fights a man. That's what it says.
I muted my mic to take a drink, but I just love the day 255. Tom fights a man.
That's all it says.
That's all it says for that day?
Just kidding. That'd be hilarious. Then jumps to another day.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so anyways, I'm going to
He does, by the way, but just
this.
the way it's worded is funny.
On day 259, Tom and Summer are at a bar having some drinks, and Summer is approached by a man who starts to hit on her. This guy is obviously a Chad, and is giving her a bunch of bad vibes. She tries to brush him off, and he's, such a Chad, he doesn't even realize that Tom is her boyfriend. At one point, he makes a comment about him being her boyfriend, finally. And, I can't remember if he insults Tom, or I think he insults Summer, and so to defend Summer, Tom gets up and punches this dude. And you can see, Tom's pretty proud of himself, showing a little sack. And then out of nowhere, the dude gets up and just cleans him out, knocks him out. So after this,
that guy reminds me of Joe Manganiello's Flash Thompson from the Raimi movies.
I don't know if this is the proper pronunciation, but I just like to say it as Manganiello because it just rolls off the tongue.
That might be what it is.
I don't know. It's got like way more vowels in it than what I just said.
It's a cool name. I don't know how to say it.
He's from Pittsburgh.
Is he?
Yeah, dude. He's a big time.
Where does the Manganiello come from?
He's a big time Pittsburgh Steelers fan, like hardcore. If anybody, well, never mind. I shouldn't tell the pod listeners what my devotion to sports is.
Yeah,
because
we'll lose people.
We might lose people. But yeah, he's like a big Pittsburgh guy, and he's like really into heavy metal.
Oh,
yeah, there's like different like heavy metal bands that I follow, like small time bands, and it'll say also followed by Joe Manganiello.
That's
like
awesome.
This actor with like damn near 1 million Instagram followers.
The only thing I'll ever miss about the Snyderverse is missing out on seeing his version of Deathstroke.
I know, man. He looks great.
Oh, so good. That suit's fantastic.
Sick, it just looks. heavy.
Oh,
it looks
he looks like he could take a beat. He looks like that suit looks like you could hit it with a train.
That one literally looks like you could shoot a grenade at it.
Yeah.
And it would explode and he would get up.
And he'd walk through the smoke.
Like that suit is awesome, man. That'd be like, you know what I think HBO should do? Pick up like a Deathstroke miniseries.
That'd be tight.
And do it like kind of in the vein of like The Punisher from Netflix or something. Just like really gritty, action oriented. I feel like Deathstroke would need more action than The Punisher. Which
that was my biggest problem with that show.
Not to say The Punisher didn't have action. It had action. But yeah, like you said, there wasn't enough. I mean, The Punisher, man, he kills fools. Like, he punishes.
He is the Punisher, and he barely does any punishing.
I'm spitting all over my mic. Getting excited. So, after this fight, they end up getting into an argument, and Tom storms out of her apartment, in a drunken rage, because he is still left in the blue, doesn't really know where they stand. The next night, she visits Tom at his apartment, and they end up making up. Tom asks about their relationship, wanting to have some kind of staple of consistency. Summer says she cannot promise him how she would feel in the future. However, to show him how she currently feels, she kisses him. He reciprocates, then spends the night together. Man, this is day 259. I mean, that's red flag city right there.
Yeah.
On day 290, after meeting at a cafe, Tom wants to go back to Summers, but she insists on going to a theater and watching The Graduate. I've never seen this movie.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it came out in like the 60s, so you Zoomers wouldn't sit through it.
Is it the black and white French one they were watching? Or?
It wasn't black and white. Oh. It's got Dustin Hoffman in it.
Oh, then it's neither of the things I just said.
Do you know who Dustin Hoffman is?
No.
Well,
I mean, I've heard the name, but I'm not connecting it.
That movie was really, you ever heard of the phrase, man, what is it? The famous quote from it, something about Mrs. Robinson, not the song. Hey, Mrs. Robinson, not that song, but there's like a really famous like movie quote from it, like, "Are you coming on to me, Mrs. Robinson?" or something like that. But anyways, he's really famous for that, and he also played in the movie Rain Man with Tom Cruise. He's Tom Cruise's autistic half brother. Tom takes him to a casino because he can count cards. And they make like millions of dollars. It's a good movie. Cool. He's a really good actor. Anyways.
Yeah.
Man, we went from 500 Days of Summer to Deathstroke, 500 Days of Summer to Rain Man.
We refuse to just talk about this movie.
We are struggling. She weeps at the end of the movie, surprising Tom, as he'd always thought it was a romantic fairy tale. Later, at the record store, Summer is distracted and kisses him goodnight on the cheek. Tom brings her to a diner where she lightly announces that the relationship isn't working out, citing that they frequently argue, and breaks up with him. Although she still considers Tom her best friend, he is horrified and becomes depressed. Summer quits the greeting card company. Tom's boss moves him to the consolations department as his depression is making him unsuitable for happier events.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Hey, shout out to his boss, Agent Coulson.
Agent Coulson.
My man.
Clark Gregg.
Yes. Yeah, I think he's a really, really, the phrase character actor? Mm-hmm. I think he's a great character actor.
I think he did good as the boss. That's the only other thing I've
seen
him
right? in. but like the character... Which Marvel movie is it where he like shows up with a big ass gun?
Avengers.
Is it Avengers?
Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't he die?
Yeah, that very scene. Because he's like...
Yeah, but he like basically shows up and is like, fuck you. And like shoots somebody. He doesn't say that.
Well, he shows it off first. And he's like, but you don't want to find out what this does. And
who does he say that to?
Loki.
Okay.
And then later he shoots him with it and he's like, oh, so that's what it does.
Man.
Shout out Clark Gregg. Sorry they killed you and then put you in a bad TV show that they decided wasn't canon anymore.
Pour one out for the dead.
Did anyone watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Did you watch that?
What's that?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
I've heard of it. I never watched it. I thought it was pretty popular. I mean, I feel like it had some quite a few seasons.
It had like 5 seasons. I think people only really cared about the first 2. It introduced Ghost Rider into the MCU. It's not canon anymore. They struck it from the canon. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, right? So that didn't happen.
Good thing I didn't waste my time on that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they introduced Ghost Rider though. I feel like
It was Robbie Reyes.
I'm so proud of you for liking such a metal comic book character.
Dude, I love Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider is
so tight.
He is the hardest motherfucker in comics. Like, say what you will about the Nick Cage movie, it's not good. But there were quite a few scenes. I can remember when that movie was like coming out and seeing trailers for it. The one where he like drives off the building in slow-mo and swings his chain around twice and catches himself.
For as bad as the sequel to that movie is, Spirit of Vengeance.
I heard it's not bad. Like,
what?
I heard it is also not a good movie, but it had the R rating, didn't it?
No.
I'm pretty sure it had an R rating.
It was a hard PG-13.
Like, it had, like, excessive violence, and people were like, well, this is, like, so disjointed from anything else Marvel.
I don't remember it being R. It is very violent.
Okay.
The construction site scene in that movie is fantastic.
Oh, yeah?
I don't like that movie. It's a bad movie.
Okay.
I will sit down and I will say, Ghost Rider 2 Spirit of Vengeance is a bad movie.
We need to put that on our list of, like, maybe we need to watch that, because we just still
I haven't seen it in a while, but I remember it being bad.
We have yet to review a movie that we're just like,
yeah, this movie sucks.
This movie, yeah.
But the best part about that movie is the special effects are so good. Ghost Rider looks incredible in that movie. He is like, just look up screen caps or clips of Ghost Rider in that movie. His design and the way he looks and the way they did it with the effects is phenomenal, which is hilarious because of how bad the movie is.
Yeah. It was like they threw every dime they had at that.
Into the, and
then they like didn't even hire screenwriters. They was like, we'll let Nick Cage is in it, right?
Just let him do whatever he wants.
We'll let Nicolas Cage. We'll let Nicky figure it out.
He might as well be ad-libbing the entire time. Speaking of Nick Cage, and then we'll get back to the movie.
Oh, we're doing it again.
I know, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But the massive weight of unbearable talent looks so funny.
Yeah, I haven't seen the trailer for it.
Oh, I did.
I heard it looks good.
It looks good. Okay. It looks really funny.
I really
Nick Cage plays himself in a comedy spy thriller akin to Austin Powers, where he has to take out his cartel best friend Pedro Pascal.
That does sound good.
Oh, it looks funny.
Okay, so
500 Days of Summer.
Tom ends up going on a blind date with a woman named Allison. He spends the entire date talking about summer until Allison leaves him exasperated. And they're back at the karaoke bar.
Whatever, go. You don't even look like summer anyway.
Yeah, and Tom's like absolutely mangled up here trying to sing karaoke. Months later, Tom attends coworker Millie's wedding and tries to avoid Summer, who's also there. He sees her on the train. On the train, she sees him and invites him for coffee. They have a good time at the wedding, dance together, and Summer catches the bouquet. She invites Tom to a party at her apartment, falling asleep on his shoulder on the ride back. He attends the party, hoping to rekindle their relationship.
That's a good scene.
But barely interacts with Summer, spending most of the night drinking alone. And then he finally spots that she's wearing an engagement ring and sees her talking to her fiance.
Yep.
And at no point does this was the scene where I was grab her and throw her off the roof. I mean, what is she doing?
This is Summer's most egregious offense in this movie. She
drags him. I've been in that scenario with a girl.
Yeah?
Sophomore year of high school. I will not name this girl, but we went on a field trip, and she kissed me on the field trip and held my hand on the way back. And then the following Monday, I texted her, and she wouldn't talk to me. And then when I confronted her in person, she said, we're friends. Like, you kissed me.
Oh, well, you know what?
I was a sophomore in high school. I meant something.
Then I can see why your take on this movie is different than mine.
Ugh.
You've had a summer in your life. I don't think I've had a summer yet. And if I have, I'm very naive. I don't really notice stuff like that.
Kaylee, don't be a summer.
So it doesn't really. So maybe there's been a summer in my life. It hasn't hit me that there was ever a summer in my life.
I'm glad you haven't struggled through that.
So.
All right. So, as you said, though, this is a really cool scene because we didn't mention there's a few spots where this film has a narrator.
Yeah.
And the narrator is not a character in the film.
Yeah, no, he just
it's almost like the narrator you hear on like a commercial or something.
Yeah.
I really like it. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen I'm such a Brendan Fraser stan. Have you ever seen George of the Jungle?
Oh, yeah. I love George. Dude, you can ask Mom. George of the Jungle was my thing.
That's so
We had
awesome.
so many
Give me a high
VHSs.
five.
Dude, George of the Jungle was my guy. And it was funny because no one else knew what I was talking about. I'd be like, guys, have you ever seen George of the Jungle? They'd be like, what are you talking about?
Dude, that movie is absolutely still hilarious.
Oh, it's so good.
Me and Alyssa just watched that like within the past year. And she was like, what's this? And I was like, well, you know me. I love Brendan Fraser. Mm-hmm. We're going to watch this. This is hilarious.
I always thought...
And it is absolutely hilarious. So funny.
I always thought that the movie was based on the cartoon, but the cartoon's based on the movie.
Really?
Which means the movie... I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I'll look into it.
Don't quote us.
But if I'm right, then that would mean that the George of the Jungle movie with Brendan Fraser was a completely original idea that someone just had. And they were like, what if Tarzan, but
it makes
stupid?
It even more funny.
Yeah.
Like,
what if Tarzan, but he's silly?
Yeah, but that movie has like that really I don't know how to word it. Your typical like narrator for anything throughout the movie, but it's so like he's so funny. And there's constant like fourth wall breaks. Mm-hmm. And they talk to the narrator.
Yeah.
And so this guy really, it might be the same narrator, honestly. Like they sound similar. But so the narrator kind of describes the situation prior to Tom going to this party that Summer invited him to on a rooftop of her apartment complex. And the screen is split and it shows his expectations happening while reality is also happening. And, you know, the music's kind of pleasant at first and they're like kind of coinciding as the night goes on.
Yeah.
But then you start to see where he's drinking by himself. Mm-hmm. He's not talking to anyone. All he wants to do is talk to Summer, and Summer's literally like, I don't think she says anything to him after he comes in.
Yeah, she says hi and then leads him into the party, and
and that's it. And then, man, whenever he like sees a ring,
and he books it,
and like
he bolts.
Man, he like kind of like starts crying.
Yeah,
and then like he's trying to hide his face, like. Mm-hmm. I wish I was there for my bro. Mm-hmm. Like, I wish I could be there and be like, I got your back, bro.
Yeah.
But anyways, months later, Tom leaves the party devastated. Further depressed, he only leaves his apartment for alcohol and junk food. This is a cool little montage where he's literally in his apartment for 3 days straight. Mm-hmm. And it shows this in a span of like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And just shows his alarm going off. And
and then you see the table fill up with Twinkies and aspirin. And
that's like really cool, like scene structure and like cinematography. Yeah. I really like that. And then it shows him go to like the gas station. He buys like a bottle of Jack Daniels.
He's walking past the couple holding hands. He's like, get a room, you two. God.
It's so funny. And I think this movie does such a good job of like having comedy, but not over the top.
Yeah,
like rom-com
there's no
comedy.
Pause for laughter. It's just it's very dry comedy. That's just, which is my favorite kind.
Right.
I love. I mean, I enjoy a goofy like, hey, we're making jokes now, sort of like, you know, like your Deadpools or
it's such realistic comedy in this.
Yeah, I love it. You do a really good job of taking my ramblings and being like turning it into one sentence.
Well, you do a really good job.
And then presenting it to me like this is what you want to say.
You do a really good job of having something to chew on. So, like, sometimes I struggle to even say what I want to say. I toss it to you. You start it. I'll wrap it up. That's why we work great together.
That's what we're here for.
Exactly. Tom leaves devastated. He's drunk. He's getting drunk. He's in his apartment for 4 days in a row. After these days pass, he returns to work, hung over his shit, and after an emotional outburst in a board meeting, he quits. Rachel, his younger sister, tells him that she does not believe Summer was the right one for him, and that he is only remembering happy memories of their relationship. Tom thinks about this harder, finally seeing moments of incompatibilities he's overlooked and warning signs he missed on the day of the breakup. One day, Tom finds the energy to get out of bed finally and rededicates himself to architecture, as Summer had encouraged him to do. He identifies firms he wants to work for, assembles a portfolio, and goes to job interviews. On day 488, Summer visits Tom at his favorite spot in the city. He tells her he left the office and notes that she got married, which he cannot comprehend as she never wanted to be someone's girlfriend. Summer says she got married because she felt sure about it, which she did not feel sure about with Tom. When he says he was wrong about true love existing, she counters that and says that he was right about it, just wrong about it being with her. She tells him she is glad he is doing well, and Tom wishes her happiness as she walks away. So right here, she almost brings it back for herself, but I can't forgive her. She's unforgivable atrocities against my guy Tom.
There's a good line in that scene. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he's like...
They have some good dialogue.
He's like, congratulations. And she's like, don't say it unless you mean it. And he says something witty. I don't remember his exact words, but it was funny.
Yeah.
I like that part.
I do like that he finally confronts her about, she strung him out at Millie's wedding.
Yeah.
And also, nothing having to do at all with the scene itself other than JGL cleaned up.
Oh,
and he looks sharp.
Oh,
He does like the slicked back hair. He's looking good. I would love to see him in like a... never mind. I was gonna say I'd love to see him in like a mobster movie or something like that, where he just can dress really.
I thought you were gonna say like a Wolf of Wall Street thing.
Yeah, but
I've never seen that movie.
When I think about that, Wolf of Wall Street is just a comedy movie.
Oh, is it?
It's a comedy movie disguised as like a finances movie.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it's actually a hilarious movie. But anyways, I really love his suave dress apparel in this scene. And you can just tell he's regained confidence in himself.
Yeah.
On day 500, this is it.
Here we are.
Tom, at a job interview, meets another woman applying for the same job. He finds that she shares the same spot that he always goes to in the city and invites her to coffee afterwards. She politely declines, but then changes her mind. They introduce themselves to one another, and she claims that her name's Autumn. When she says this, he looks at the camera and breaks the fourth wall, and he doesn't say anything.
He just smirks.
Yeah, his facial expression is great. And then the film title cards
sets back
resets
to one,
one.
baby. That's I love the ending so much.
Yeah, it's a great ending.
It's
it
fantastic.
Really is, yeah. And that's the conclusion of 500 Days of Summer.
That's 500 Days of Summer.
Only said in 500 minutes. How long are we?
We're at 122 right now.
Ooh, is this our longest?
No.
Oh, really?
I mean, it might end up being, but it's not right now. As of 122, it is not.
Okay, so in conclusion, Brett, I got to speak first.
Yeah,
here.
I'm going to let you go first because you have more positive things to say about it than I do.
I hate this movie.
Wait a minute.
With that said, it's a really good movie. I give it a 8.25 out of 10. No, I mean, this movie has...
I will tell you, I bumped my score up while we were talking about it.
That's interesting. The two leads, Zooey Deschanel and JGL, are great characters. They're both realistic. I know that I said I hate Summer. I still do. Because she's like a real woman. Mm-hmm. I've really seen women do these things. But Alyssa's going to listen to this and be like, you just hate women. You're anti-feminist or whatever. I don't know. But with that said, she's, a realistic person, and she makes some really good statements there in the their final interaction at the park bench at his favorite spot, which is true. Fate does exist. Mm-hmm. And love is real. I don't care what anybody says. It's a real thing. But it's only real with certain people and certain things. And I'm glad she found that. And I'm glad my man Tom regained his confidence to branch out again. And the way the film's constructed, like we said, with the non-linear storytelling and the way the scenes are cut up is really, really cool. I love Quentin Tarantino movies, and his are non-linear. Not all of them, but pretty much all of them.
I don't think I've seen a single Tarantino movie yet. I really want to watch Django. We got to do Django for the show one time because I really want to watch it.
You haven't seen a single Tarantino movie yet.
Yeah.
That's a hint for...
Oh, is that... Ah!
But anyways, I digress.
I was reading your mind the whole time.
He was in there. The non-linear... this movie makes it really simple to follow because, like we said, each time it bounces around, it shows a title card.
Yeah, it tells you exactly where we're at.
Yeah, and the way that's broken down is really nice. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, go ahead. Say some stuff.
All right, I'll start with my positives. The best part about this movie, the greatest part, hands down, is just the style. Marc Webb's direction, and I don't remember the cinematographer's name, but yeah, Marc Webb's direction and the cinematography in this film is phenomenal. This movie is beautiful. They use lighting really well. Yeah. It's got this like film grain filter over the whole thing. It's very faint, but like you can tell that scenes are grainier than you would normally see in a film. And I think it works perfect for this because there's sort of an overarching theme of this being on film. Yeah. Like with the expectation versus reality, you see that vignette around the
vignette. That's a good word.
Where it's sort of fading to black around the edges, and then that montage sequence of Tom at the sad movie where he's seeing himself in all these sad black and white movie homages.
Yeah.
And that's great. And then, like I said, the title cards with the days changing and the way the tree and that whole scene changes depending on where we're at in the 500 days. Yeah. You know, early in the days, the tree it's bright green, flourishing with leaves. The city in the background is bright blue. It's got this beautiful watercolor aesthetic. And then as the days, you know, as the relationship starts to fall apart, the tree loses its leaves. The watercolor turns to black and white. And that's done super well. And I love the performances. I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt's an amazing actor. He does so good in this as Tom. It's great. I love the supporting cast of his friends Mackenzie, and the synopsis didn't mention him, but Paul, played by
Matthew Gray Gubler.
Yeah, who's from Grey's Anatomy.
One of those.
What's he in? He's in one of the doctor shows.
He's in.
He plays the lanky smart guy. He's great.
He's in like a CSI or something like that, ain't he?
Yeah, that's what it is.
One of those. Yeah, there's literally a
the one with the girl with the black hair. He's in that show, isn't he? Is that where Matthew Gray Gubler is in a show where he is a doctor and or a forensic scientist? Yeah. He is also Simon in the live action Alvin and the Chipmunks movies.
I did not.
Yeah, he is. That's always a really funny fact. But he's in this movie, which I didn't know about. And he has a great, I was going to save this for later, but while I'm here and while I'm talking about him, he has one of my favorite lines in the entire movie.
When he asked if she gave him a blowjob.
No, that is not. that is not what I'm talking about. But that was really fun. Yeah. When he's like, I'm gonna go do something else. Let me know if any jobs come up.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'm sorry if you heard any of that. And
I was just about to say she has a great moment there because Paul mentions that he was borderline stalking her, and she comes out, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, hope you didn't hear any of that. And she's like, hear what? And he's like, oh, nothing. She's like, okay, well, we can go stalking now. Shopping.
Yeah,
that's great. But no, there's a little montage near the end of like it's shot like it's an interview. It kind of comes out of nowhere, but it's shot like it's an interview, and it's asking the different characters in the movie their perspective on love. And it asks Mackenzie his perspective on love, and he's like, as long as she's cute and got big boobs, and he's like, oh no, he says as long as she's cute and willing, the cute part's negotiable. And then
oh yeah, that's right, because Matthew Gray Gubler has like a little thing about his wife.
Yes, and I love the way he said it. He says, and I remember it so vividly, he's talking about in the universe, not Matthew Gray Gubler's actual life, but in universe, he has this longtime girlfriend, and he's talking about how they met in high school and they've been together ever since. And then he has this little excerpt, and this excerpt in particular is my favorite part. He's like, my dream girl, she'd probably be a little taller, into sports, likes the same music as me. But you know what? I don't need my dream girl because I think my wife is better. Yeah. Because she's real.
Yeah.
And I think that's so perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly how I think everyone should feel. It's like, yeah, but would you want your dream girl? Because that's not a real person. She wouldn't have, all the little quirks that you do love about the people that you love. Because if you love someone, you truly love them, it's the little things that you're really actually attracted to as opposed to the broad strokes.
Humans are attracted to humans.
Yeah. And so that it just caught me so off guard in this movie that's like a bit of a downer, which is what I'll get to when I talk about my negatives. But that was just such a nice line from such a nothing character the entire rest of the movie. Yeah, I don't know. It really struck a chord with me.
I would say that like this film, as you said, it's a lot of it is a downer. Like 75% of this movie is in like a depressive state. Now it's sprinkled with some comedy here and there, but that's why I do like your term of it being a romantic dramedy, if you will, because comedy is the last genre that you could sprinkle in there. There's not a lot of it, and it is kind of sad, especially as you follow Tom's character through all of his emotions. Man, I didn't even touch base, but you're totally right. Marc Webb and the way he directs this film, and all the shots, like we said, like when he's laying in bed, that's a creative shot where it's just showing him resetting his alarm clock day after day after day. And then I do like there's like fourth wall breaking aspects of it, or like self-awareness to it. Like at the end of the film, whenever he looks at the camera after she says her name's Autumn, the girl he meets at the job interview, and also the whole dance montage, it's so self-aware, you know, and I'm sure there's plenty of guys that can relate to that scenario where, you know, you get with a dream girl, it's like kind of you're head over heels, ecstatic, and then there's another part of it. Well, like you said, with the interviews, who's conducting the love interview, you know?
It's you know, it's just those little things, just the flair.
Yes.
Marc Webb has, and he's also, aside from those like stylistic choices, the stylistic choices, he is so good at making these characters feel real. Yeah. Like, apart from some moments, a lot of it doesn't even feel like dialogue. Yeah. You just feel like you're sitting and watching these two people talk to each other and interact in this space.
And I feel like that's a testament also to the actors chosen.
Yes. Yeah.
They do a really good job.
Yeah, they do a great job.
And you talking about like his stylistic choices, Marc Webb, and, you know, the cinematographer who we have not named.
Unnamed cinematographer, but shout out to you.
The word I would like to use to describe the way they set all this up visually is just, it's creative.
Yes. It's a very creative movie.
Yeah, it is a very creative way to portray this style of film.
Yeah.
This could have easily been a hard to engage with film. Because who wants to watch a movie?
Because it's a very basic story.
Who wants to watch a movie about a breakup?
Yeah.
I don't. You know?
Yeah.
And I still don't. And I still hate it. Yeah. I don't want to watch it again. But with that said, I can't sit here and say it's a bad movie. It's not. It is a good movie. And people that like character pieces like that about simple, real life things would really, really like this movie. I can remember when this came out, and the reason why I ended up watching it is because when I still lived at home, my dad got the paper every day, the Times West Virginian from Fairmont. And every Thursday, I think it was, on the back of the sports section, they had it wasn't just movies. It was like movies, TV, music. It was like a pop culture page. And somebody for the Times West Virginian always wrote a movie review. Oh. And they did a review for 500 Days of Summer.
Hey, Times West Virginia.
Well, they like gave, who knows if they, that's what really got me into like.
Bring it back. You guys hiring?
Yeah, get us. But they gave this movie like a perfect score. Oh. And I saw through other like movie review outlets that this movie was garnering like a lot of praise. And that's kind of what made me want to watch it back then. And obviously I came away from it a little bit disappointed, but I can't say it's a bad movie. It is a good movie.
Yeah. Well, I was 6 when this movie came out, so I did not see it in theaters.
Jeez, you're young. I forget, like I just constantly forget like how far apart we actually are.
No, I always forget about it. But I will say, talking about it more in depth and focusing more so on the things that I did enjoy than the ones that I didn't, I have bumped my score up. I have bumped my. I will touch on the things that I didn't like. If you want to touch on the things you didn't like first.
I already told you what I don't like. I don't like summer.
Oh, is that it? Is that your only negative? Is summer?
That bitch. Yeah, kind of. There's not a lot to complain about, really. I don't like that. I have like this issue, and especially since I got older. You'd think as I got older, I would like broaden my horizons on what I want to watch. But I love certain types of films, and this is the furthest removed from my preferred genres.
I mean, everyone has their preferred genres. I like to think I'm fairly open-minded because I just like watching movies, regardless.
There's just not a lot I can knock this film for. That's why I'm giving it an 8.25 out of 10. This is a good movie, a great movie, if you will. I'd say anything 8 and above is a great movie.
Yeah.
But with that said, it is a movie you have to prefer.
Yeah.
It's hard to kind of nail the genre, but it's overall a romance movie, and I don't. It's not for me.
That's fair.
But yeah, other than like I said, not a ton of negatives.
Well, then I'll wrap it up with my negatives.
Lay it on me.
My biggest problem with this movie is the writing. Not all of the writing. Very specific points in the writing. Because as we mentioned in the beginning, the screenwriter, Michael, what's his name?
Yeah. Damn you, Michael.
This screenplay was basically just a vent piece from this jaded guy who got his heart broken. And that really, really comes through in the writing in some scenes. Almost to a point where, for me personally, I was hearing these lines. And maybe I would have enjoyed, maybe the movie would rank higher if I didn't know that was the reason he wrote it, or that was the headspace he wrote it in. Because, from an outside perspective, not knowing that, it just seems like lines.
Yeah.
But then when you get into the head and he's writing this about someone, it's like, okay, we get it. There are multiple scenes in this movie where the dude characters, especially Tom, just start wailing, saying just weird, out of place things about women. Like, there's a scene before him and Summer even together where where someone, Mackenzie, tells him that he heard from another coworker that in the office room, she wasn't talking to someone else. She was like, blew him off is how and Tom jumps into this completely out of character rant up until this point in the movie where he's like, yeah, well, she wants to be a skank, sleep around the office, think she's too good for everyone. Then you know what? That's her prerogative. I don't need that bitch in my life anyway. Yeah. And it's like, you don't know. This is before he knows her.
And this is a guy like having, like incel syndrome before he even approaches the woman.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when they break up, which it makes more sense when they break up, but it's still just like
it was definitely out of place.
Yeah, and it felt weird, especially for Tom being such a good guy, and then it just drops these scenes where it's just like the writer just like word vomiting his own feelings towards this girl. It really left a bad taste in my mouth at the end of the day.
If I may add on to what you're saying there, now that you're describing it fully here, I'm kind of like getting what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I really feel like it's almost like the writer was entitled.
Yeah.
Like, I have the ability to drag you not on Facebook or Instagram.
I'm gonna make a movie about what you did to me.
Yeah.
And it left a bad taste in my mouth.
I'll show you.
It felt weird. That being said, and that's a big portion of the movie that I would consider a negative that I don't like.
That's almost as cringy as, like, remember how earlier we were talking about Kanye West and Pete Davidson's beef?
Yeah.
Have you seen that music video Kanye West made?
That's exactly what this is like. And you know what? It's corny when Kanye does it, and it's corny when this guy does it.
Not a good look for anybody.
Yeah, and it felt weird. And that came through while watching it. And so it left a bad taste in my mouth. But sitting here, so originally I gave the movie a 7.
Yeah.
With that cited as the movie's biggest weakness is just it feels weird to watch this movie knowing that it was written about this girl from this guy, and like this is just how he thinks about these situations.
Yeah, and we don't know that specific girl that it's based on. Yeah. We don't know this guy.
But sitting here and talking about the more positive aspects of the movies and the scenes that I did like and the style and the performances, I and it shouldn't be looked past. You shouldn't talk about girls that way regardless of what happens to you or how they do that. But in the context of just like watching it as a movie, I'm going to bump my score up to an 8. Okay. I'm going to give it a solid just borderline 8.
Okay.
Because I did like it and I would watch it again. I think it was a good movie. I think overall it was a really good movie. That was the only hiccup for me was that. And I guess Summer doesn't really exist outside of her relationship with Tom. Like, we don't know anything about her other than what she says to Tom and what she does to Tom.
Well, this film is all...
But it's from Tom's perspective.
Portrayed from Tom's perspective.
It makes a little more sense in that regard. So I'm going to give it an 8. Those are my thoughts. I don't have much else to say about it.
Okay. Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Gut answer. What's your favorite rom-com?
What's my favorite rom-com?
I feel like you probably haven't seen a ton of them.
I haven't seen a ton.
I have 3.
All right, you go first.
You'll have not seen any of these 3 films.
All right, you lay them on me.
I know you would like them all, though. They're all late 90s movies. She's All That. Never Been Kissed. Drew Barrymore in the lead role. And probably number 1, 10 Things I Hate About You.
That's Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Yes.
He's like the moody bad boy. That's actually based on a William Shakespeare novel. Or not novel. Play, maybe? Mm-hmm. Something that William Shakespeare did called The Taming of the Shrew.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this is like it's like a
The
rough
Taming of the
adaptation.
Shrew, 10 Things I Hate About You.
Well,
That's
the
funny.
movie is about like this guy. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Is it?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, so he's like, and he's young in this movie.
Oh,
I think
wow.
it came out like 98 or 99. And he's like the new kid at this high school. He wants to take out this hot girl named Bianca. Mm-hmm. Well, her dad has this weird rule that he won't let Bianca go out on a date unless her older sister goes out on a date. Her older sister is like a senior, and she's like a huge bitch, like kind of like emo girl. Nobody wants to talk to her or anything. So JGL and his buddy go to seek out some like scumbag to take her out on a date. They end up paying Heath Ledger to take Bianca's older sister out on a date so that Joseph Gordon-Levitt can take Bianca out on a date. And you know, there's some shenanigans. Yeah. But they all end up, you know, falling in love, and it's funny. It's
nice.
A cool, funny movie.
Well, I haven't been able to start broadening my movie horizons until very recently, where I have access to my own streaming services and can rent things. So I'm filling out my catalog little by little.
So you don't have a big rom-com catalog?
I don't. I don't know if this counts. I would count it as one. You might not. But my gut answer for favorite rom-com is Hotel Transylvania.
Well, I mean, isn't it?
It's the love story of Mavis and Johnny.
Yeah, I mean, the boy, he's not like a monster or a gore.
No, he's not. He's just a human.
I'll accept
and so
it.
the movie is the shenanigans that come from Mavis falling in love with a human because all the rest of the monsters hate the human.
I mean, they're in a relationship at the end of the movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's a rom-com.
And then my follow-up answer, which I think counts less as a rom-com, it's a musical. It's called The Prom. It's on Netflix. It's less of a comedy. I mean, it has comedic characters and like it's got fun songs, but like the 2 main characters that are in love don't actually joke around much. Most of the comedy doesn't come from them or the situations they're in. It's like it's like the B plot is most of the comedy. But it's a musical. It's called The Prom. It's on Netflix. It's very good. You should check it out.
So if we're going to talk about my lowest film genres, you got rom-com and then romantic dramedy. New one I just found out today. And then we'll just go with romantic drama, no comedy.
Yeah. Oh.
And then underneath the house is musicals.
Oh.
I don't really do a musical.
Dad watched West Side Story yesterday all by himself just because he wanted to.
Well, that's good for him. I wouldn't.
I haven't watched it yet. I love musicals. I'm a theater kid. I want to be an actor when I grow up.
You need to get with the William Shakespeare. Taming of the Shrew.
No, I'll tame them.
You need to do the play. If it's a play, I don't know. I can't remember if it's a book or a play or what the hell it is.
But yeah, so I love me some musicals. So The Prom is really good.
Yeah, I guess my favorite genre would probably be. Well, let's not ramble anymore.
Yeah,
we'll save that one for next episode.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. This is our longest episode.
Okay, well,
143.
Sorry for all the incessant rambling about everything else. I think that's part of our charm, though.
Yeah.
So, if you've already been listening to other podcasts, you know what we like to talk about.
Yeah, we don't run as tight a ship around here as some of those other guys.
We like to keep it loose. Buddy.
We keep it loose.
Maybe someday when we can hire some more producers in the back, we'll straighten it out. As I pointed my terrible Ben Roethlisberger action figure over there.
He's keeping us in check over there.
Ugh, he looks terrible. So with that said, this has been another episode of the Real Rendezvous podcast. We hope you're keeping up listening. if you like us, give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram. Hit us up, email us. I'll have Brett drop those in a second. Tell other people to check us out. We're still young in the game here. We have this is our 6th episode?
Yes.
So, we're just gonna get better as it goes along.
7th episode uploaded, 6th official episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just get better as it goes along. We'll get tighter, and we've already talked about every so often we'll probably throw in like a top 10 list episode or other things like that. So, like I said, just spread the word. Tell people to check out Real Rendezvous Podcast. Brett, you want to drop the socials and wrap us up?
Yeah. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, that's going to be Real Rendezvous, all one word. Twitter.com. Check us out. Updates and stuff are over there. Instagram is going to be real_rendezvous_pod. So that's our Instagram. That one's a bit of a mouthful. We post some... I throw up some behind the scenes pictures sometimes of the editing process and then just general updates.
In the lab.
Fine tuning our acoustics. But you can also find every episode of the show on YouTube. The channel name is just The Real Rendezvous. You'll know it when you see it. It's got our logo.
Brett did the logo himself.
I did. I drew it. And then that also has our socials on there. So if you can't quite get it from what I just said, head over to YouTube. Every single video has our socials posted in each corner. So
that is Real Rendezvous, spelled REEL, and then Rendezvous is RENDEZVOUS.
Rendezvous.
Yeah. It's an amazing word.
It's fantastic.
Great word. You've been killing it with the words. Juxtaposition, then vignette, and the OG Rendezvous.
Yeah, I hold my phone down here underneath the counter with a little thesaurus app. I can never say thesaurus on this first try. Yeah. It always takes me 2. But all right.
I guess that's it. Yep. Brett, till next time.
Till next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you later.